Well, Rob, that's FP2 out of the way. Less than ideal conditions, I think it's fair to say, here at Snet.
Typical Norfolk conditions, isn't it? I mean, I'm a local boy, so obviously grew up in these conditions. But yeah, so far so good. Definitely big improvements with the car, which is great. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable, which is good. And these conditions I've always been comfortable in. So, just everything feels good. We're making good steps in the right direction. And we're in the top 10 both sessions, so that's good. We're quite far inside the top 10 in both sessions. So, yeah, now we've just got to extract the most out of it for qualifying.
How big problem, issue, thought process is it going to be this weekend with, the hybrid being, important in 3 long straights here?
I mean, you just push a button. I mean,
everybody's saying, just push a button.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally it, right? I mean, ultimately, you've got to, racing. You want to use it, obviously, in qualifying to get the maximum performance out of the car, and we've got a strategy for that. You then just use it in the race to defend or attack, and make the most of it like that. So, ultimately, you just sort of get a bit of a panic on and push a button, and that sort of gets you out of trouble a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I'm prefer much more focusing on the racing itself. But yeah, like I say, everything seems to be going well so far, and we've just got to keep it there. I mean, the 3 races tomorrow, as always with BTCC, they're fairly close together, and hugely changeable conditions this weekend. So pretty confident we know what we're doing in the wet. I mean, the BMWs are on another planet. That's pretty clear to see. And for us, we just need to make the most of what we've got, which I feel we're well on the way to do.
Sounds like you feel you've got a good qualifying setup, and then consider the race setup depending on the weather.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, qualifying is always a bit of luck of the draw within the first, because you only get 10 minutes, obviously, and then you've got to adapt pretty quickly between the sessions. Obviously, depending on which session you're in, where tyre pressures and so on and so forth depends on the track conditions. So, you've got to learn and react very quickly.
You know Snetterton well. It does divide opinion, though, across the paddock, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know Snetterton well, but I know the old Snetterton. This is the first time I've ever driven the 300. I've never driven. Never raced on it, and not driven a touring car around it. So this is very much the first time. I mean, I obviously know the track because I watch BTCC and you learn the track, but obviously it's very different. For me, turn 2 was a 90-degree right-hander onto the A11 before, so that was 20 years ago, obviously. But I really quite like this track. It's long. There's more the driver can input to extracting a bit more out of the car, and it's more of a challenging track.